flavor and
Okay, just not
pepper
gonna share
soup
another.
there.
No.
Shows that he's on TV.
Yeah.
Always a chance.
During the early part of the tennis movement. Told me, told me.
Get up and hug us,
You have to turn your microphone on until the light's bright green.
He's,
But where it says push right in the middle.
he really was
Oh,
up
oh.
to stuff. Impressive.
Right?
Oh, yeah, I can see.
All right. My culture is come and gone, sir.
Better be careful what I say.
We're gonna have to get some new glasses.
This commission with all these new members must cost the city a fortune. A lot of people pay. You read the minutes? I have. Flawless. Flawless.
The nines, for some reason, the nines.
How you doing?
Like,
Not bad.
oh,
We were there at 7 o'clock, what did you show? Yeah, it's about 30 seconds, I think it's close enough. Like 7:03? I think that clock is never right. Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Warsaw Plan Commission meeting. I believe this is 9/9/19, so we got a lot of nines going on tonight. Approval of the August 12th minutes.
Mr. President, I've read the minutes. If there are no further questions or comments, I move to approve.
Seconded, Jim, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unfinished business, Justin?
There's no unfinished business.
Very good, thank you. Can everybody hear us okay, by the way, all the mics are on? We got chastised last meeting. 2019-09-01 preliminary and final plot, Lake Village Shopping Center. Justin?
Yeah, so the preliminary and final plat for the Lake Village Shopping Center subdivision has been submitted in a timely fashion and reviewed for its conformity to the subdivision control ordinance. The proposed lots meet all of the development standards for a subdivision in a C5 zoning district. The plat creates 3 lots from the original 25.65 acre lot. The subdivision will maintain access to frontage road and maintain all existing utility easements. Since this plat does not include any additional public infrastructure, I recommend that the board grant preliminary and final approval for this subdivision.
Thank you. Any questions before we open it up? All right, very good. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this particular petition?
Hi, I'm Tom Hardy, John Kipple Associates Surveying. Basically, the subdivision plat came about because we got kind of lucky. Hardy's is tearing down their building, but the good news is they're building a new one. So they didn't want to be a part of the Wago leasing program again because obviously Kmart's going out of business. So they wanted to purchase the lot that they're going to build on, so that's why everything came about.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone who'd like to speak against this particular petition? We'll close the meeting to the public. I think we have to suspend the rules again, don't we?
Yeah, we will, but Justin, is that a public street or is that street maintained by Lake Village?
There is a city easement that goes through there now for that road, so it is a
Okay.
public. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And that's a carry-on from where Staples is more or less through now, right? Yeah, okay. Any other questions, comments? All right. With that, I think we need to split, but we need a motion for the preliminary rather, sorry.
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Seconded?
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, he got
All those in favor?
Aye.
that. Aye.
And now we need to suspend the rules.
I'd make a motion that we suspend the rules to vote on the final plat.
So moved, seconded?
Second.
Very good, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries as well.
I'll make a motion that we approve the final plat 2019-0901.
So moved, seconded?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That carries as well. Thank you, sir. Tom, looks like that goes your way. Next item on the agenda, 2019-090102, final plot, Bell Augusta, sections 3 and 4. Justin?
So the preliminary plat for Mitchell's Reserve, now known as Bella Augusta, was originally submitted in October 2014. It was approved then. The final plat has been submitted and reviewed for its conformity to the city's subdivision control ordinance and the requirements for an R1 zoning district. A variance has been approved by the Board of Zoning and Appeals to grant 5-foot side yard setbacks for this development. The development plan was reviewed and approved by various city departments. And storm and sanitary infrastructure has been constructed and inspected as well. The roadway for phases 3 and 4 has been installed and inspected by the Streets Department. So I recommend that the Plan Commission could approve, or should approve the final plat for Bella Augusta, and that's for sections 3 and 4.
And before we open it up, any questions? Okay, we'll open it up. Anyone in here to speak in favor of this petition?
My name is Kevin McDermott.
Could you, excuse me, speak a little louder, please?
My name is Kevin McDermott. I'm
Thank
an
you.
engineer with Lockheed and Associates, 1017 South Hadley Road in Fort Wayne, 46804. We're the engineers for this project, and I can answer any questions that you may have about the
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
So I assume you're just going to continue developing the housing similar to what's already there in the first section?
Yes, the first section were single-family homes. Most of section 2 were duplex villa lots, and sections 3 and 4, the way the last year weather turned out, finishing both together at the same time, are all single-family residential lots.
And I believe those are fairly affordable homes. What range are they in?
I really am not involved in the home building side,
Okay.
only on the infrastructure, the development side. I know these lots are a little larger than the section 1 lots, but very similar.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone in the audience, and I don't think there's anyone left, so I'll assume no one's going to speak against, but I don't want to jump the gun. Okay, we'll close that to the public. Any questions or further comments? With that,
I'll make a motion, we approve 2019-0902 final plat for Bella Augusta,
So
sections
moved.
3 and 4.
So moved. Thank you, Danny.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes as well. Last item up is the resolution. Justin?
Thank you. So you have before you Resolution 2019-0901. Basically what this resolution is doing, it is approving the resolution that was approved by the Redevelopment Commission at 4 o'clock today. Jeff sits on the Redevelopment Commission, so he can inform you on what they reviewed. But in essence, you should have before you some maps. And those maps are what we are looking at expanding, what we refer to as the GACI TIF, but it's actually specifically named the Winona Interurban Redevelopment Area. This redevelopment area includes the GACI property, and that map shows it expanding to the new, or what would be the proposed expansion, new area, including the blue area, would be what's being added to the Winona Interurban Redevelopment District. The original intent of this was we had a request from someone looking to create a riverfront district, much like we've done along Center Lake. So that's the initial intent. The other intent is we are looking at obtaining control of the Arnault property at some point in the very near future. So including the Arnault property in this TIF district would give us some redevelopment options moving forward with that in the future. But also at the same time, we've been working for the last 2 years with MACOG to obtain funding through EPA grants. MACOG was awarded an EPA grant earlier this year with the intent of communities in our area, including in the MACOG region, could apply for some of that funding grant for environmental cleanup, both assessment and potentially in the future cleanup. Knowing that we're going to obtain the Arnold property, the intent was to include that in this district, while at the same time approaching MACOG for some potential assessment money to seek to address any issues that Arnold might have. So it's kind of a combination of a couple of different things, but the primary goal initially, what brought us to this expansion was that request for that redevelopment district to include a riverfront district. So what you're approving, more or less, is what the redevelopment commission adopted earlier today. That should have been uploaded into your board pack so you can see both resolutions. You'd be approving this resolution, which would be approving what they had done earlier today, which includes the map. There was one caveat earlier today. The redevelopment commission asked about a section of the clause in there where it referenced we did not have an acquisition list. The intent was not to include an acquisition list, but we are going to more or less take ownership of the Arnold property by default once that receivership is resolved later or early next year. So the request was that maybe we should include that. So I'll talk to Randy Rampalo, our attorneys, the redevelopment commission, to clarify whether or not that needs to be included in that resolution. So there could be an amendment to the resolution that was adopted earlier today, but in general, you're approving the same framework that was adopted at the redevelopment commission.
How substantial is the cleanup you expect to do? I mean, is it a small thing or a big thing?
Don't have a clue.
Okay, so you gotta find out what you're up against right now.
That's really what the initial step will be through the EPA grant, will be that assessment grant. They will do environmental phase 1 and 2 on the property, hopefully a phase 1 and 2 on the property, assuming we get approved by the grant applicant and so forth. That will tell us more or less what the options are for cleanup, what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to be addressed, and then we can start to pursue the potential cleanup of that property. I've only seen a very old, outdated document. It didn't look terrible to me, but I don't work in that area a whole lot, so I'll let the environmental people tell us when we get to that stage how bad it is.
What properties are you particularly concerned about?
Primarily just the Arnold property.
Okay.
And, well, the surrounding, what used to be part of that Arnold Corporation. And I think there are some other lots that are owned by somebody else now, but that assessment would include that area.
Just out of curiosity, what does a riverfront section look like? I mean, you're not on the lake per se. I'm just kind of curious what that.
It's been pretty loose. A lot of
Okay.
communities have adopted these riverfront districts on glorified drainage ditches. In both cases, when we've approved a riverfront district, we've basically stated, either as a plan commission or as a city council state, that we're not saying that they're going to accept us. We're going to go through the process that is laid out within the state code. And if the alcohol board accepts that and grants them the license, then congratulations to them.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to guarantee that they're going to do that.
And I assume this has already been blessed by the city council and other.
City council will not see it until after. So in order to be a riverfront district, you first have to meet one of 6 classifications. We don't qualify for the other 5 classifications. This is the classification that we qualify, which is a redevelopment area. So what we're doing in essence is expanding the Winona interurban redevelopment area to include the property that is wanting to request this. By doing that, they will now qualify to go through that riverfront district process. So we'll do the RDA, we'll expand the Winona interurban, and then it'll go before the city council to create that riverfront district.
And that when you say you're a riverfront development, then that dictates the kind of development that can take place?
It only allows you, it only opens up liquor licenses within that area.
But it would preclude anything other than some combination of like residential and
Doesn't
retail?
have anything to do with that. It just
No.
opens up liquor licenses.
Okay.
The riverfront district. Now, the redevelopment area, yeah, it gives us a whole different bag of tools to use towards developing or redeveloping properties in those areas. But the riverfront district is purely based on alcohol licensing.
Would this bring any more money into that TIF area?
Potentially, as we would redevelop something, it would, but the intent here isn't to go out and grab money. So initially, it's not going to generate any additional. If things were to develop within this new district, then yes, it would increase revenue within that TIF district. Our hope is we still want to redevelop Gackey, you know, and then you're adding Arnold to it. Those are two areas we're targeting for redevelopment. So our goal is to redevelop those, to put them back on the tax rolls to generate funds.
Any other questions for Jeremy? Thank you, sir. And I assume we need a motion and approve this as a
Yes.
body? Okay. With that, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Very good, thank you, Jack. Seconded?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That resolution, oh, anyone opposed, I'm sorry. That carries. Yeah, I missed that in the last meeting, didn't I?
You're a city engineer, Chance.
And no one was in opposition on this one, so that does carry unanimously. Any other matters that may come before the board?
I move to adjourn, sir.
So moved, seconded?
Second.
Second, wow, that was jumped on. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
They can just stay.
There you go. Very good, all right, thank you, everyone.
might get our own bourbon
Adjournment.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. The infrastructure in that particular area.
The streets got a whole lot of